just want to say thank you very much for coming, and absolutely congratulations for taking action, because this is an investment of your time, this is an investment of your day, and I truly believe in personal development, whether it's professionally, whether it's in other areas, business, etc. So whatever little element you do to grow yourself is a bonus for you and the life and the quality of the life that you live. So thank you very much for being here. My name's Pushpa. I'm the CEO for the Women's Mentoring Foundation, and today's event is being delivered through the Lord Mayor's Better Suburbs Grant and Women's Mentoring Foundation. So the Women's Mentoring Foundation, our purpose is to improve service delivery for culturally and linguistically diverse women, and we do work with men and we do work with young people. The reason that we chose this area, up to now it was just overall women, it was too big a niche, and I did some research over the last 3 months just before January, and we identified the biggest gap in the frameworks that we were researching was around mental health, emotional breakdown, burnout, suicide prevention, around the multicultural growth in Australia. So then we changed our focus to see, well, how can we create something that's going to meet the niche and also identify the barriers that are preventing people from getting help. More so why this event today was the barriers that they may be going through, or the challenges that they're probably living through either here or from past events in their life, is preventing them or creating obstacles for when they're wanting to pursue a career, either career or startup businesses, because we know that every human being has a skill, has an ability, or has got some form of resource within them to achieve outstanding elements so that they can live a better quality life. And our goal is to lead, to heal, and then to inspire transformation, irrelevant of what their journey has been. Because everybody deserves the right to be living an amazing life, an awesome life, and whatever may have happened in the past, we want to, if you're holding on to the past, depending on the emotions or the meanings that you've given to your life, especially if they're negative, if they're not serving you, then we want to ensure that we can help you change that so that you come back to a space. So that's our counseling side of things. We come back here to start coaching you. Now the coaching is more about you as an individual person, and we start working on your beliefs and your values and the desires and what do you actually want to do in life. And then the final part of our program is to start the mentoring. Now mentoring, as many of you probably know, is all about somebody that's lived that space, that's traveled that experience, and can hold your hand and take you through. My journey, it's been interesting. It's one of the reasons that I, birthed the foundation, was because when I fell through the cracks and I identified, that's got to happen, hasn't it, when you forget to put your phone on silent. Sorry about that. All right, yes. So, 3.5, nearly 4 years ago, I literally lost everything, was below zero in huge debt. And at that time I had 3 businesses. I even had a contractual job, lost everything, drove off with a car and thought, how do I get out of this? And one of the things that inspired me was setting up this foundation and setting up another organization called Leaders by Design, sitting in my car outside a library. Because during that time, any pathway that I was reaching out for support, there wasn't any. And if there was, it was really challenging just to get something small to happen. So it was pretty painstaking, and I think the hardest thing was seeing just how many women and young people were falling through the cracks because it wasn't so easy to get help or support. And with the online things that were coming on, you know, they'd be clicking 10, 15 pages to finally get some form of answer, but it wasn't what they needed. Even during COVID, one of the things that we did was we set up a van, we'd go outside Centrelink queues, and we'd just help the people outside the queues so that they could understand the paperwork, they could understand the process, and then at least have a chance of getting some form of income whilst they develop themselves and through themselves so that they could get and secure a job. Does that make sense? We had professionals, we had business people, we had so many people in those queues that didn't even know how to fill in the forms, let alone go online and access everything. And the weren't at fault because they were obviously restricted as well. There was nothing they could do. So yes, that was one of the things that we did then. So in this workshop, we're going to explore opportunities to create pathways to employment and further education opportunities. Yes, for the CALD communities, but it's an open workshop. And we do this through grief, trauma, coaching. But today it's going to be more open. We would love for it to be more of an interactive session. That's something that we do every day on the norm. So we want this to be more interactive. What are you facing? How can we support you? What can we give you guidelines in? And even just taking your information, because if you don't get what you want here, then there's nothing to say that we can't go out of our way to try and find out what you actually need. We've also got a wonderful guest speaker. Sharon has had her journey, but she started up a successful business. So as well as employment, we have people that are entrepreneurial and they think they need a job. However, they may have an idea within them that really they want to give that a go as well. And it might be that, okay, in the interim, they sign up for additional financial support so that we can then put that idea into place. So Sharon's going to be talking a little bit about her business later on. And we've also, she's brought a beautiful gift for you all as well, a notebook, so make sure everybody's got a copy of that. So being here today, you can expect to learn about the following: finding your inner confidence, your natural learning skills, desires to work, same value add with other families, form a comprehensive understanding of the health and well-being that's needed to really get yourself in a financial independent way so that you can be living life in a peaceful manner around your finances. And then health and well-being. So health and well-being is not just about having an illness or a disease. Health and well-being compromises in what you are thinking. What are you feeling? What are your processes? A negative small emotion, for example, worrying, even worrying about coming here, triggers off a mental health form of illness, right? People don't think about it until it gets so deep that all they're doing is constantly living in this place of worry or anxiety or depression. When, you know, if they handled it immediately, they'd be able to see beyond that point. And it's human behavior. So my background is in psychology. I did my master's in accounting. I practice as a clinical neuropractitioner, so I've been studying human behavior for quite a few years, and the neurosystems and why we do what we do, and the reasons behind the actions that we take. And a lot of it relates to the life, our cultural backgrounds or the upbringings or the role models. So a lot of the decisions that we make or the belief systems that we have is usually inspired by other people. And the first question I'd love for you all to answer is, who do you believe you should be before others told you who you should be? Does that make sense? So who do you believe you could have been before others influenced you into thinking who you should be? Is that okay? All right, so do you want to answer that question for me? Did everybody hear it? You can write it down in your book, or if anybody wants to share, then please do share. Would anybody like to share? It's a pretty easy, like when we're talking about our belief system. Hello, welcome. When we're talking about our belief system, for example, in the Indian culture, it's just assumed that you're going to be a doctor or an accountant or a lawyer. I also believe engineering comes into that because my first job was in an engineering firm. I was a welder, so I used to weld the metal plates on the buses. Saying that, even though I did accounting as a master's degree, even though I worked for the Prime Minister, it wasn't my passion. It was something that paid the bills. So in addition to having my job, I always had a community project going from as early as I can remember. From the age of 15, there was always some element of community in my life, as well as holding that professional job. And this is where I was the happiest. That job was just something I had to do. It met the needs of my day-to-day living. And now that I live in community all the time, I can't wait to get up in the morning. I like go to sleep tapping on my bed thinking, when can I get up again? You know, when can I get up and do this again? When can I change another life? When can I save another life? When can I talk to somebody that all they need is a 2-minute chat, everything changes for them. They're inspired, they're motivated, they know which direction they're going. So even though you haven't answered that question, I'd really you think about it. Who are you supposed to be before others told you who you should be? And that comes with our education, our teachers, the environment that we live in. Somebody out there influences our decision. Now, the final part of the program that we work at WMF is leadership. And leadership starts with the self. So we have a lot of people in leadership roles during COVID. What we found with the work that we were doing in corporations, the people that were holding leadership roles found it very difficult to take on initiatives to think, okay, this has happened, now what? What we found was the people on the ground level said, okay, we'll set up an online system, we'll check in with our staff, we'll make sure they're okay, following up. But a lot of the leaders were struggling at the top because they didn't know what to do. It was pretty overwhelming, right? So just because you have a leadership role doesn't mean you have the qualities of a true, authentic leader or the abilities to take your people to another level. And we're all born leaders. Every one of us, in some way, shape, or form in our life, we've influenced somebody. We're all born leaders, but the leadership side of things is what's the development. That's what we work with, is okay, you're a leader, how can we develop you to be that extra, fantastic, amazing leader, a leader that's a cut above the rest. All right, so Sharon's going to be speaking shortly, and then we've got Steph, who's our digital manager, and we've got George, who is our videographer manager, so he does all that for WMF. And we are also going to be taking afternoon tea at about 3:15, so we are meant to be here till 3:30, but we can still continue even after that, so we'll have some nibbles shortly. Does anybody have any questions for me so far? All right, if you've all got pens and notebooks, I'd love for you to now start writing these questions down, because even though you may not answer them here, then these are questions that you can definitely answer when you go home. Remember, this is part 1. We've got a part 2 coming in June as well. That's literally going to go deeper at another level. And we're never too old to get a job, right? King Charles has proven that. He got his first job at the age of 79. So the first question about barriers and fears, how have they, if any, affected you and your growth? So if you've ever had barriers, and go back in time, because when we face an issue that's not serving us and we think we've overcome it, it's not usually the case. So has everybody heard of Tony Robbins? Yes, I've been with Tony for 17 years as one of his trainers. We've just finished an event with 40,000 people, and it's a common behavior. We have limiting beliefs, and those limiting beliefs have come to us because of events that have happened in our life. So think about the barriers, because those barriers of the past, if you think you've healed from them and you're not talking about them anymore, they're probably the ones that are triggering things off in you that are obstacles in you applying for work, in obstacles in you looking for something to do, or in motivating you to following your passion. The second question is, what is meant by mindset and how does it affect your life and achievements? Now, mental health is a common phrase. We've got mental illness as well. And even though that's what we're focused on here, I really don't like using those concepts. I like to think about it's our mindset. Is our mindset compromised in any way? Are we constantly being critical of ourselves? Are we constantly thinking about people that are criticizing us? Are we letting people that have judged us or opinionate us rule our life? Or are we our worst enemy, constantly looking how silly we look? I know when I'm on stage, and I'll pause there for a little while, and they'll be thinking, what am I doing? And I'm like, if everybody's finished looking at my hair and what I'm wearing and judging me and whatever, can we carry on with the course now? And it usually stirs up a bit of a laughter, but it's human instinct. We do that, right? You know, what shoes is she wearing? Or is he walking on stage with his hands in his pocket? Or is he not, you know, is boring? Or are they good? Or what have they put in their hair? You know, what's that all about? Or why are they wearing those earrings? It's just human. I do it. Because I look at people and I'm thinking like, wow, those shoes are really nice. I want to get a pair of them. Right? But if you're doing it in a critical way, my friends, then you are doing it in a critical way towards you. So a common human behavior is something that you don't like about yourself is what you're going to be looking for in other people. Either because it makes you feel better that you're not the only one, or it's just that because you've become somebody with that behavior. All right, third question. Gain more clarity and more self-aware. And this, again, am I talking too fast? Is everybody okay? Are you with me? Everybody paying attention? Whew, love it. Also, okay, so the leadership side of things, when we talk about self-leadership, you cannot give to others what you don't have, as I mentioned before. And that starts with your self-discipline, your self-love, your self-respect, your self-awareness, your self-appreciation, your self-gratitude. So all these things, if you really, really want to be a strong leader in any role you hold in your life, whether you're a stay-at-home parent, whether you're a student, whether you're in a job or you have a job, you know, you have a business as an entrepreneur. I work with a lot of entrepreneurs out there. If they don't have self-love, they cannot put that towards their staff. If I'm a mother and I hate myself and I'm constantly criticizing myself, do you think when I tell my children I love them, that is genuine? And I let that go. You know, there was many years that I was living in this space because of people in my life that I listened to, that were constantly telling me how stupid I was, how fat I was, how ugly I was. And I let that impact my emotions, which I saw put a barrier in the love that I was able to give my children. And the moment I let that go, I'm like, why am I letting them rule my thoughts when at the end of the day, I've got free will to make my own decisions. And if I've got free will to make my own decisions, I'm going to do it for the right reasons, right? Not to please somebody, definitely not to hurt anybody, but at least to know that until my last breath, that I did live my life to the best possible way that I could. We do a lot of work in aged care centers, and especially when people are in the last chapters. And the most common words we hear is, I wish, I could have, I should have, I regret, it's too late. You know, so today we want to value our life and we want to secure the best job possible for us. And the way that you're going to do it, you know who you are. And you start with your self-leadership. All right. So, grow in focus and confidence. And again, leaders have focused minds. They know where they're going. So the question that I'd love for you all to write down is, what am I focusing on? So you would have heard, what's that thing they say? What you think about is where you go. So manifestation, where your focus go, energy flow. So where we're focusing, our energy goes. So if you want a job as an IT consultant or as an administrator, start seeing yourself there already. Imagine, does it feel right? Is it good? What are you doing? What are your team people like? Who are you speaking to? What does the job feel like? Is it just because you've studied that, or is it because that is what you want to do as a person? So that's the next question, is that what am I consistently focusing on? Where your focus goes, your energy flows. Where your energy flows is what you're attracting in your life. So how many people want to secure jobs? And if you are in a job now, how many people want to go to another level? How many people want to identify possibly starting a business? We all want to be at another level, right? Or do we want to be at the same level for the rest of our lives? Want to grow, right? So, and confidence comes with that. So when you're focused, when you have your vision, when you have a plan, you'll know where you're going. So the next question is, and this is like homework for you because we have a limited amount of time here. What do I focus on? How confident am I? Can I walk in a room confidently, or do I walk in a room and I'm just like, you know, just in case somebody sees me, or in a room thinking, hey, it's me, hi everybody, how are we doing? You know, do you have the confidence to do that? Because you believe in yourself. You have self-leadership. You know who you are. You're not causing anybody harm. You're doing what's right as a human being. So your vision. What's the purpose? Do you know your purpose? How many of us know our purpose? Yes? Did you want to share?
Yeah.
Say that again. Beautiful. Yes, absolutely. I knew my purpose was always leadership. And it was like, how can I bring this to the world in a way that it's going to impact many people, not just because I love leadership. My whole purpose in life is to develop leaders that will go on to ignite transformation in others. So when I spoke about earlier that we go and share what we learn here. If you learn today in the manner that I have to go and teach to somebody, you'll find that your neurosystem starts learning it at a different level. If you put that, you put that in your head that I need to learn today because I need to go and teach this to somebody else. It's great value add. How am I going to learn this? You will start taking in information at a different level. And we all learn differently, right? I taught year 11, 12s for a number of years. I've taught university students. And I asked a group of 12 students, taught them the same topic. Each one would come out with a different interpretation. And you'll be guaranteed there'll be somebody in that room that's saying, "Ooh, I never really thought of it that way. Oh, I didn't realize that's what it meant." So you can see we all learn differently, right? So it's worth networking and even talking with each other. What were your thoughts on that? And then you get some more information. So when you're learning, personally developing, always do it in the way that you go and teach this to somebody else. Any questions? Everybody good? Let's get the physical body. So when we're learning, state is really important. Everything in life that we do, my friends, 80% is psychology, 20% is state. So your state is your physiology, your mechanics. If we're sitting slouched on a chair, like the 40,000 people we've just done an event, for me as a trainer, that's like 16 hours a day. I start at 10 p.m., I finish the next day at 2 p.m., 4 days straight. And why can I do that? It's because I manage my physiology. I'm in a great place, my shoulders are back, I'm moving around, and I'm managing my psychology. So I'm focused on task. Of course, when I need to sleep, I'll get one of my senior leaders to cover for me, but you know when you need to do that. So when you're looking for work, it's really important when you're sitting in front of the people that may be interviewing you to have a great physiology. Do you think that's important? Or do you think it's just good to just relax and chill out and that's all right? Yeah? Who's heard of what is it? Chat? Yes. So I had a forum this morning in Southport, and it was a group of trainers, and they were like, "So how are we going to handle this in schools now? Because how are our students going to even think to do some research when they can just type in a question and the whole essay or thesis comes out?" Right? Because some of the students, what do we use in schools now? Mainly computers, laptops. I've seen some of the handwriting and it's sad. I had a student come up to me, we had an envelope, and she didn't know what that little square box was for the 4 square boxes at the bottom of the envelope. Yeah, and where does the stamp go? Oh, I thought it went at the back. So times are moving on, but we don't want our children or the next generation to lose all the natural qualities that we have. All right, so we are, when Sharon finishes her talk, we're going to be talking a little bit about emotional, but was this helpful so far? Right, everything that I've spoken to, if you relate it to you looking for work, or the next chapter that's going to happen in your life, all little snippets will contribute to you really getting something that means more value add for you. Anything and everything that you do in a professional life, in your personal life, if you can work with your state, if you can work with your emotions, your mindset, you will find the whole outcome is that you live a deeper, inner, fulfilling life, irrelevant of what you're doing at work. And then if you are at work or you're in your business, do it wholeheartedly. Like, do you really want to be getting up in the morning and thinking, "Oh God, got to go to work again"? And then the next 8 hours, all you're doing is watching that watch or clock. What are you doing? You're wishing time away, right? So instead of wishing your time away, which this time that we're here on April the 4th at 2 p.m. 2023 is never going to come back. But at least you can congratulate yourself and say that this time I actually used for my personal development so that I could find skills and resources that's going to help me going forward in my career, in my business, as an individual. And you should congratulate yourself. I welcome personal development to the T. Like, we don't get enough of it now, and I think You know, government should be offering a lot more out there, because with this AI thing going, are we really losing the human factor? Are we going to be automatic human doings, or are we going to come back to being a human being? Lots of people are living an automated life. When do we come back to our original form of a human being? And you'd know that, right? When we were young, like, life was so much fun. It is fun now. I'm not saying it's not fun, but you know, it was different. Okay, does anybody have any questions for me?